Good day. My name is Janita Pacheco, and I serve as the coordinator for the Office of First Generation Student Initiatives at the University of Washington, Tacoma. Today, I have the honor of welcoming you to our fourth annual National First Generation College Celebration. During this event, we will showcase the stories selected for the We Are First Generation campaign. Through these stories, we feature the voices of first generation college students, faculty, staff, and alumni from our institution. To begin our celebration, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Mintha Hines Wilson, who will provide us with the official welcome and our land acknowledgement.
Hello, campus community, and thank you for joining us today and recognizing Tacoma's first generation community of students, faculty, and staff as part of the National First Generation College Celebration. First generation is a relatively new distinction on college campuses and recognizes an individual who is the first in their family to attend college. More than 57% of students enrolled at UWT identify as the first to college or first to degree, and our first-gen cohorts are achieving success in the classroom and beyond. As we begin this gathering, I respectfully opened with the land acknowledgement. We recognize that all of us at UW Tacoma learn, live, and work on or near the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people. In particular, we are situated on the traditional territory of the Puyallup. As people on this occupied territory, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the land, the ancestors who have cared for this land since time immemorial, and all of our indigenous connections today. We also have the responsibility to acknowledge the histories of dispossession and forced removal that have allowed for the growth and survival of this institution. In light of this history, let us take active efforts to partner with our Indigenous community members and neighbors as we continue our work together as a community of learners, leaders, and educators. So investing in student success is a priority for the Tacoma community. We remember a time not all that long ago when going to college was an entitlement for the privileged and the elite. It was customary for colleges and universities to be exclusionary and limit access of learning for many groups like women and non-whites. That began to change with the signing of the 1965 Higher Education Act. Again, 1965, not that long ago. The Higher Education Act was designed to strengthen educational resources of our colleges and universities and to provide financial assistance for students. It's helped millions become the first to college or the first to degree and to reduce many hurdles and difficulties. Nowadays, first-gen students are welcomed more than ever before and cut across racial and ethnic lines. Notable first-gen students include Bill Clinton, former President of the United States, Academy Award-winning actress Viola Davis, the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late Congressman John Lewis, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and the celebrity Oprah Winfrey, and you as a notable student. I believe UW Tacoma is a good setting for first-gen students to earn a degree. With equity and a sense of belonging in mind, our programs focus on community building, networking with faculty and staff, leadership, and professional development. Students are excelling. They're earning internships, choosing to travel abroad, assuming exceptional leadership positions, and pursuing graduate study. So for my first-gen scholars and friends, I see you. You are not alone here, and you are a part of a campus that cares. We stand with you, and we're ready to extend a hand to support you throughout your journey at UW Tacoma. Congratulations and good success this year and beyond.
Thank you so much for inspiring words, Vice Chancellor. We really appreciate your support. Hi, my name is Paula Chua, and I am a senior majoring in biomedical sciences at the University of Washington, Tacoma.
Hello, my name is Helena Williams, and I am currently a sophomore studying finance and creative writing at the University of Washington, Tacoma.
Hi, my name is Margarita Gonzalez. I'm currently a senior studying social welfare at the University of Washington, Tacoma. At this point, Paula, Halana, and I have the privilege to introduce you to the We Are First Generation campaign.
We Are First Generation poster campaign features the voices of first generation college students, staff, faculty, and alumni at UW Tacoma. Through this campaign, we seek to highlight faculty, staff, and students who are first generation, share the experiences and strengths that contribute to our institution, develop a sense of community among first generation students, and connect first generation students with first generation faculty, staff on our campus.
This initiative started in 2016, and it was possible thanks to the advocacy of faculty and staff who were part of the First Generation Student Work Group and a strong partnership with the Advancement Office. This project is meant to raise awareness and contribute to a positive, supportive campus climate for first generation students.
This campaign also helps validate their experience of first generation students and lets them know they are not alone, that we celebrate their presence at UW Tacoma and honor their contributions to our campus. We thank you all first generation staff, faculty, and students and alumni who share their stories. This is our first generation family. Let us hear their voices.
Hi, my name is Abdallah. I'm a student at UW Tacoma, and I'm a first gen. For me, it means to be a part of a whole bigger community that offers a lot of resources that you might not have known. It means to have advisors that are ready for you to help with whatever comes your way, if it's courses, if it's life in general. It also means meeting new students and new people that might be in your major or might not be, but still making that bigger connection that you might need one day or the current time. Honestly, for me as an individual, I try my best to find as much resource as I can, check all the corners that are there. But as a first gen, one of the struggles that I had was dealing with some of the new courses that I encountered when I came to the university. So having those new courses was one of the struggles, especially one of like the very first quarters. So some of the things I did was, to form a group so we can make a study groups and go over the materials, make each one of us understand the other person, what they're getting from the materials, so we can benefit from one another. So that was some of the struggles that I faced as a first gen. Being patient, because success does not come in a day or night. So some of the strengths that I developed was looking back at what you accomplished and getting the motivation from that, and also looking forward to what comes through your way. And seeing, if you struggle through some of the things, that just means that you're stepping forward and you're going to more challenging, things that in life that you're going through. My family, obviously, the very first people, and also the first gen community and the first gen fellowship at UW Tacoma, always sending us events, resources that are available on campus, and making a time for our schedule to see something that would be helpful to us in the long term or the short term future. Some of the advice that I would give to a first gen student is, honestly, it might be something that you always heard, but to never give up. This is a very important, concept, and always stay motivated. Always find the thing that makes you motivated the most, and use that as a way to continue on. Because some of the days it's easy to lose hope, but finding a small window of motivation is always helpful, and you can also expand from that. One other thing I would say is, to always take challenges. Don't be scared of challenges. You can hear from me. I've taken a lot of challenges, and it helped me in the short future and in the far future as well. So if you ever see a challenge and from back of your head that this challenge would help you, always take it. And don't be scared of it. One of the last thing I would say is to always stay connected to the first-year community, because you would form a whole new family and a new whole community that would help you, that will always be there for you. So always be connected with them. I am Abdullah Aden, and I support first-gen students.
Hi, my name is Aiden, and I go to the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I also am a first-generation college student. Being first generation means that I don't always know exactly what chart or what course I'm going to be navigating. I pretty much have no clue what I'm doing half the time, and being a part of the first generation club has given me that resource and that extra ability to navigate this uncharted territory. Some of the challenge of being a first generation student is balancing the work, home, and school life, and having synergy in all of those areas is really key to success. So I tend to draw my strength in every classroom that I walk into. That's really how I choose to balance my energy. I think that it's really important to navigate the system with great people by your side, and that to me has been by far the best thing that has happened to me in my trek through the academic career. I find that the people that have continued to support me throughout this adventure are my friends and my family. The people in the classroom, the teachers, the advisors, all of those people have helped catapult me into this space where I'm able to advance into whatever direction I would like to choose. My best advice to first generation students is to try your best to get involved on campus. Sometimes that means being a freshman and volunteering, but you will be able to find your niche and be able to navigate campus the way that you feel is appropriate for yourself. Hi, my name is Aiden, and I go to the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I support first generation students.
Hi, my name is Allison Hendricks. I work at the University of Washington, Tacoma, Milgard School of Business, and I am a first generation student. Being a first-gen student means that I am part of a group of people who have persevered when it would have been easy to give up. It means that I had an internal compass pointing me to something better than what my parents and my siblings were expecting of me. It means that I have accomplished more than I ever thought I would because of my persistence to get an undergraduate degree. It was just a challenge for me learning to understand the language of higher education. There was nobody in my family who had gone to a university, so I had to learn that on my own, navigate the systems, find out where I needed to go to ask questions about academics, about finances, about living arrangements. And I had to find these resources all on my own, really without the help of family or friends. Some of the strengths I built up as a first generation student really were persistence, being dedicated to learning, character building, and just having the experience. Most of the support did come from my family, even though they really didn't know how to support me other than just to be there. And also I would say my friends and advisors, faculty, and other staff at the university. The advice I would give to a first generation student is to ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask your advisors, your friends, your faculty, staff, librarians, any question about your experience here at UW-Tacoma. Everybody is here to help, and we understand that you may not have the support that you need at home, and we are all here to help you. I'm Allison, and I support first generation students.
Hi, my name is Amanda Figueroa, and I'm Senior Director of Student Transitions and Success in Student Affairs at UW-Tacoma, and I'm first gen. being first gen means being connected and creative. So I know that I was able to earn my associate's degrees and 2 UW degrees because people before me dreamt of a more inclusive educational system, and I benefited from that. And so now as I do my work in student affairs, I really try to leverage my position to create more inclusive and affirming spaces for first gen professionals and students. So being first gen, I was the first in my family to go, and so I didn't have anyone to go back to say, how do I navigate this? Who do I reach out to for this? What should I be looking out for? And so some of the competing priorities I had as I entered my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree included things like, how do I balance supporting my family? How do I make sure that I am on a pathway so I can actually get a job? It was a big investment to spend all that time and energy getting a degree without knowing if I was going to be able to get a job at the end. So my parents taught me really early that if I was going to get what I needed in school systems, I would have to advocate for myself. And that lesson stayed with me my whole life. And so that was something that really gave me opportunities to be bold and to ask questions, to reach out for support, and to I was still nervous about reaching out and building a network and asking for help, but that knowledge that my family passed on to me helped me to make those connections and to build those networks that ultimately helped me be really happy in my career. Oh, my family. I think a lot of first-gen students say this, but my family, which of course includes not only my parents, my sibling, my nephew, but also now my husband, my really good friends that I went through, who are also, a lot of them tend to be first-gen as well, and we've built really community around that identity. Get involved. Get involved, practice telling your story, and celebrate your milestones. Especially this year has been really challenging for a lot of folks. But every milestone, every assignment you complete, every midterm you complete, every quarter you complete, make sure that you give yourself some time to say, I did that, that was great. And that will give you some fuel to keep going. Also, I would like to say, reach out to career development. It is never too early to start building your networks to help make sure that after you graduate with your UW degree, that you have great career opportunities ahead of you. My name is Amanda Figueroa. I work at UW Tacoma, and I'm here to support first-gen students.
My name is Angel Torres. I'm a graduate student here at UW, and I'm also a first-gen student. Being first gen to me means that I was able to basically create my own understanding and blueprint for what success looked like when it came to higher education. It means that I didn't have any real family pressures coming down for how I'm supposed to pursue my education or what success would look like at the end or as I'm pursuing it. Well, one of the biggest challenges would probably have to be pursuing education through military service. I served 8 years in the Army, with the primary goal really being earning a higher education. Another challenge would be not knowing what to do after completing high school. Neither one of my parents had earned a high school diploma, so their primary goal for me was to graduate. And once I achieved that, it really took a little while to understand where I would go after that. Since I really didn't have that example. But just, being the oldest of now 5 siblings, I wanted to do something that would set a good example for them. So I decided to pursue education through the military. 2 big strengths I would say would be resilience and discipline. Resilience, just, growing up in a disadvantaged background, and really having the struggles that I had when I was young helped, develop the skills necessary to make it through uncomfortable situations. And then discipline, I owe that all to the military. They really gave me the structure to be able to understand my strengths and how to apply them. And those 2 combined has just been the bread and butter really to get me where I am today. My support systems here primarily would be my father and my stepmother, Angelo and Cynthia, and my partner, Catherine. They've really been my rock since I've been home and trying to make this transition from military service into academia. It was pretty tough when I first came back, and if I wouldn't have had them here in my corner to kind of keep me grounded, I'm confident that we'd probably be having a different conversation today. That family here has been very important, and also for not only my sanity, but also for my self-respect and motivation. Biggest piece of advice for other first-gen students that I have would be, don't get discouraged when the path that you're taking to reach success doesn't look like the path of your peers. Already from the beginning, we're kind of taking an unconventional approach through academia, regardless of whether it's through how we're financing it, our support structures through it, whatnot. Don't look at those as an example of how you should achieve your success. Develop your own blueprint, develop your own plan, and reach success the way that it works for you. And don't get discouraged when you see others meeting their goals other ways that you didn't. My name is Angel Torres. I'm a grad student here at UW Tacoma, and I support all first-gen students.
Hi, my name is Fufu Akui. I am a student at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I am first-gen. In my native language, first generation means mo'ayanga tukulanga. And what that means to me is I am the first of my family to do something that has never been done before. So my victories is also my ancestors' victories. One of the main challenges I faced as a first generation student was feeling imposter syndrome. I had to face multiple stereotypes like you're a dropout or you don't belong here. So those different stereotypes held me back a lot from speaking up in classes and just in school in general. One other strength that was really dominant in my life was meeting community members around Seattle, especially in different conferences I was able to go to and different events that I helped planned and volunteered for. I really met a group of people in a community that really pushed me to really advocate for my community and to advocate for more Pacific Islanders in higher education. Number one, I always give praise to God first. I think He's number one in my life and as my support system. When I was at community college and even till now, I was able to really take the time to read my scriptures and to pray and to just have that sense of hope in my life and sense of happiness and joy by just helping others, like serving others and coming together as community and as students. And then second thing is my mom. Like I said, she's very hardworking. I know as first generation students, it could be hard. It could be more difficult than the average student, but remember that your struggles will make you stronger. And when you are stronger, you can be able to handle any challenges and obstacles that come into your life. My name is Fufu Akui. I am a student at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I support other first generation students.
Hi, I'm Jane Corman, and I am faculty emerita because I just retired the end of June from the School of Nursing and Healthcare Leadership here at UWT, and I am a first gen. When the UW Tacoma gave out the buttons a few years ago that said, I am first generation, I was so excited to wear it, and all of a sudden I got this lightning bolt that said, I am first gen. And it meant a lot to, mostly because I felt like then I was joining all of these incredible students that I had had over my 38 years here, 38 years at UW and probably 19 at UW Tacoma, because that was one of the reasons I love teaching here, was the diversity of the student population and the incredible people who had come from families where they were first gen, and they were just amazing folks to meet, and it was an honor to teach them. It was a challenge all the way through to finance my education. I went to Villanova for my baccalaureate degree in nursing, and I was able, thank goodness, to get a scholarship and some loans, which it took me a very long time to pay back. But then I also worked the whole time I was in school at a drugstore. I had the largest overring in the history of that drugstore, and I typed papers for people, and I did laundry for guys who didn't want to do their laundry. In my master's program, I was working at University of Oregon, and so part of my education came through the fact that I was a full-time employee. And then when I went to work at University of Washington School of Nursing in Seattle, they had a similar policy where you could take 1 or 2 courses a term if you were working over 20 hours. And I was definitely doing that while doing clinicals in pediatrics and then mental health. So it was financially, that was probably, financial was the biggest challenge, and then just time management. So I really understand, I hope, the students here at UWT, because so many, the majority, I would say over 90% of our nursing students work, and most of them work full-time while they're going to school here. So I can really relate to those challenges. I think part of my strength was being able to identify areas of study that I could get really excited about, that meant a lot to me. So when I was in my master's program, I was working in pediatric epidemiology, and I just love taking care of kids. So I was working actually part-time at Shriners Hospital at that time to also finance school. And then in my doctoral program, a lot of people said that you should get a doctorate in nursing, but I decided to go into the education field and become a therapist. So I became a family therapist and worked a lot. At that time, I was volunteering at the Sexual Assault Center in Seattle, and that was because I had seen so many children that had ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, and I wanted to know how to help them, how to help their families. So I think studying something that I was truly, fully excited about was extremely helpful. Initially, my parents, they were extremely proud of the fact that I was going on to school, and so they were helping with the first set of college expenses. After that, it was up to me. But I think my family was extremely proud that I continued on, got my master's degree, and then got my doctorate completed. And my father, who he actually went to school when he was in his 60s and went to college part-time in the evenings while he worked as a union carpenter. He would just, almost anywhere we'd go, he would say, "This is my daughter. She has a doctorate." He was extremely proud of that, so that was wonderful. I would say that it's extremely important to take really, really good care of yourself. And that's hard when you're challenged with all the responsibilities. But you're a model for the people that you will take care of if you're a nurse. for your children if you're a parent, and just the people around you. I think you can be extremely proud of yourself for going to school, and especially now with the challenges that we have all faced. But I think taking care of yourself and making sure you have a really good support system of family and friends that you can turn to when you need that kind of support. Sometimes a kick in the pants, but mostly a really good hug. I'm Jane Corman, and I fully support first-generation students at the University of Washington, Tacoma.
My name is Lil Kubi. I major in healthcare leadership, and I am a first-generation student. It is an honor for my family and I to attend college. My family is an immigrant from Ethiopia, so it is very important for them to provide education for their kids. So for me, first generation means that it's a better future for my family, and I cannot take education for granted. I would say that my challenge would be discovering resources to navigate me throughout my college years. For example, like I had to learn how to do my FAFSA, my college applications, and signing up for classes, so I had to figure out all on my own. I would say my family has been motivating me and supporting me emotionally and financially. So what motivates me today is that I can be able to provide a better future for them, and also to see them proud of me at the end. My parents support me, and also my friends. They have been encouraging me and supporting me throughout my college years. My advice would be that to never give up on their dream, to always push and reach their goal, and to always seek help when they need it. There's a lot of resources at UW Tacoma, so don't be afraid to seek any help from counselors, teachers, advisors. And I would also suggest to attend events, college fairs, so they can build up their networking skills. My name is Lil Kubi, and I support first-generation students.
Hi, my name is Madeline Zen. I'm a first-generation computer science student at the University of Washington, Tacoma. Being first-gen means that you had the strength to be the first person in your family to go to college. It means overcoming the hardships of applying for school, taking the SATs, and doing the FAFSA all by yourself, and having no one to rely on. But it also means that for the rest of your life, you'll be able to help your siblings, your future children, any other family members who need your help. To be able to get through college and to be able to work and just have to rely on myself, I think the most positive thing was my community around me. I had a lot of support from different community organizations, including the Dressel Scholarship. First Generation Fellows also really helped me on campus. I also had a lot of support from the Husky Coding Club and Women in Computer Science. All these organizations made sure that I felt home on campus, and everyone was always willing to help me in any way possible. And University of Washington Tacoma has definitely been a huge support, and everything in this community is really open, especially for first generation students. I think my mom has definitely been a huge support to me. Without having my mom at home, I just wouldn't be able to do this. She wasn't able to go to college either. She really wanted to go, but her dad said no. So I think it's really important for her that I get the chance to go, and we're living in a different world now where women can go to college, and I think that's really powerful and exciting. And I think she's excited to share in me being able to go to college and be the first. What I'd say to any first-generation student starting is, if you were able to apply for the colleges that you wanted to go to, you already are so powerful. It was really hard, I know, for me to apply for college. So just being able to make that first step and be the first person in your family to come means that you are strong, you're definitely resilient, and you have the ability to get through these 4 years. My name is Madeline. I'm a student at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I support first-generation students.
Hi, my name is Michelle Earthwright. I'm a pre-major academic advisor over at UW Tacoma, and I am a first-gen student. Being first generation to me means being the first person in your family to forge new paths in a new area. So you're in this new to you and new to your family zone, and you're trying to figure out how it works. And the skills and knowledge and the success that you gain in college isn't just your own. You share it with your family members. I want to share it with like my cousins, my nieces, my nephews. And I've gained that cultural capital to pass on to my children so that they hopefully have better, easier lives than I did. In terms of challenges, I just didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what resources to access. I didn't know who I could ask for help. I didn't know which questions to ask. I didn't know which spaces to go to. And I knew that I didn't know. So it's like, it was a sense of like, okay, I'm new here. I don't quite know what I should be doing. And I'm not even quite sure where to start. So just that anxiety, that feeling of not knowing what I didn't know. In terms of strategies, the first is that I'm pretty comfortable being uncomfortable. So I'm also comfortable like looking to others for guidance. So I looked around and I saw the students at my school, and this was back in high school. I looked at the students who did know what they were doing, like whose families had been to college and who did have that cultural capital. And I kind of just copied them. I was like, oh, they're going to like a personal statement writing workshop. That sounds like something I should go to. Oh, they're going to learn about the FAFSA. I don't even know what the FAFSA is. I'll go to this. This is something I should apparently be going to. So it was very much like a fake it until you make it. But it worked because sometimes even getting in the right room, like that FAFSA workshop, I was then able to learn, okay, this is what the FAFSA is. I should be filling this out. These are deadlines I should be paying attention to. And if I hadn't gotten into that room, then I wouldn't have known any of those things. And then another strength that I relied on was that I'm a planner by nature. And I think that's honestly how I've kind of dealt with some natural anxiety that I have, is that I want to know what can go wrong and I want to have a plan for it. So even as a freshman in college, I was thinking, I want to go to grad school. Well, what do I need for this grad school? Am I supposed to be in a certain major? Am I supposed to take certain classes? And so having those questions in mind from the very, very beginning meant that I could make a plan and adjust as I went along. I would say I get a lot of support from my family, and that's both the family I was born into and my chosen family. So the family I was born into, it's like they were able to give me a lot of emotional support. They knew I wanted to go to college, and like even when they weren't able to relate to the struggles that I was going through, they were still able to like give me that message that they loved me, that they supported me, that they believed in my like ability to succeed. And then my family of choice, which included a lot of people who came from families that had been to college, they were able to help me in the sense that when I was struggling, they sometimes knew about resources that I didn't know about. So when I said like, hey, I really want to do research, like how do I even do this? They were able to tell me things like, oh, like get connected with an instructor, or get connected with this undergraduate program, things like that. I would say don't be afraid to utilize all of the campus resources, even the ones that you think you might not need. Your student tuition and fees pay for so much academic and just really holistic support. So there are academic advisors, there's counselors, there's financial aid advisors, there's student life, like there's all these areas of campus to help you. There are people like me who are literally paid to help students. And I think that there are a lot of departments that are honestly underutilized by students. And that could be because a student doesn't know that the department exists, or the student might have like some fear about going, but just know like we are here to help you. We want to see you succeed. So please come see us. I'm Michelle and I support first generation students.
Hi, my name is Monica Del Fiero and I work at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I'm a first generation student. To me, being first generation means being resilient, knowing that I navigated through the college system on my own, even with the support of family and peers, but knowing that I was able to navigate that through the barriers and obstacles makes me proud of all that I've accomplished and been through. Some of the challenges I experienced being a first-generation student was isolation and feeling alone. The feeling that I didn't know how to navigate college, from how to search for a college, how to apply to a college, or even what schools to look for or what to look for in a school. I was very lucky to have a family that really encouraged education and pursuing an education, but the resources they were able to provide me wasn't able to support me to think about how to look for schools or go through the application process. So those were challenges that I definitely faced. Throughout my time in college, I definitely felt that I faced some loneliness and being able to see if there are other people who could relate to me, being the only and first person in their family to have attended college. So those were some things that I faced. Some of the strengths I developed going through being a first-generation student in college is being resilient, knowing to really push myself and strive to look for answers, get creative, and also being really open to asking for help. That was one thing that I had to challenge myself, is being able to ask for help from peers in my classrooms, from staff and faculty around me, and then definitely look for community in that. I'm really lucky to have a really great support system at home. My family and my siblings really pushed me. They inspired me to pursue my education, knowing the sacrifices that my family made and their families and my ancestors made for me to be here, and to even walk across that stage at graduation really pushed me. I also had support on campus as well with my peers in my classrooms and staff and faculty. More specifically, staff and faculty who also identified as first gen. That representation meant so much to me because it inspired me to continue and finish my degree, but also being able to relate to people and see people who went through maybe similar struggles that I did, and make it through their college education. One advice I would give to a first-generation student is make connections, grow your network. There are students out there just like us who are the very first in their families to go to college. Connect with them. You'll have your support system, you'll have your community, and you have a network of people throughout your time in school and outside of school. I'm Monica Del Piero, and I support first-generation students.
Honde Bapo Zen, Robin Zaptohola Minthorn MCA. My name is Robin Zaptohola Minthorn, and I'm an associate professor within the School of Education at the University of Washington, Tacoma. I'm also the director of the doctoral program in educational leadership and director of Indigenous education initiatives within the School of Education, and I'm a first generation. So first generation means to me that I was the first person in my immediate family to graduate from college, which means that I was also navigating higher education, not by myself, but in a new journey and a new pathway that wasn't done before within my immediate family. Though they did go to a technical school, they didn't graduate with a certificate or a degree, and so it was the first time that I was doing that within my immediate family, and also with my grandparents who had a high school diploma, one of them, and the other had 8th grade education. So I think it meant a lot for my family and my grandparents to see somebody go on and complete within their grandchildren, and so I know that it was important not just for me but for my family. So in navigating higher education, it was, again, a new journey, a new pathway that I wasn't familiar with, and not knowing what that meant, but also knowing what it required in regards to studying, dedication to classes, but also what type of support was out there for me as a student. And so I did find myself on academic probation the end of my freshman year. And so I did have to decide whether I would continue on academic probation or if I would drop out of school or stop out. And I decided to keep forward and moving forward and finding resources of support, but also finding people that could support me, whether it was my friends, my sisters, or those support resources on campus. And so that's the pathway and the challenges that I faced, but also out of that came a lot of good. So I'm grateful for that. So once I was able to continue on in college, one of the things that I really thought was important was to find other peers that could be supportive of us as we were going through college. And so we were able to create, I was a co-founder of a Native American sorority on my campus, which was the only Native sorority on campus, and then also a Native American peer mentoring program. And that was collectively done with 4 other women for the sorority, and then with the Native peer mentoring program, there was about 12 of us, 13 of us total who helped to create that. And that again was about finding the support and creating the support that our Native students needed on campus as Native college students. So I think there was power in us figuring out how to help other students navigate behind us, but also figuring out that pathway for ourselves. And so I think that was something that was empowering, but also powerful for us, and able to find our voice, but also able to find that we are able to navigate that in a way that is honoring who we are in our culture, and also in our ways while we were on campus. So while I was in college, my source of support was my grandmother and my mother. They were both supportive, though again, they didn't know exactly what that meant for them. It was like buying my microwave and my refrigerator for my dorm room, or making sure I had a tote of food under my dorm bed so that I would have snacks and wouldn't go hungry, or was coming to visit me and take me out to eat, and having my aunts and uncles check on me. So I think that was something that was powerful. Again, it was also my peers that were there to support each other, because we had to create a community and a family on campus, which was really important. And then today, who's supporting me is my family, continued, my mother, but also my partner, husband, and my daughter, and a lot of my family. And so I'm just really grateful, because family is really important in my culture, but also in the values that I grew up in. For any students at UW-Tacoma who are first gen, I think it's always scary, right? Because you're not sure what pathway is out there for you. But one of the things that I would suggest is to know that you're not the only one on campus who has been first gen. Look for those that have had that experience, whether it's faculty, staff, other students, to be able to help you and help you find the resources and support that you need. But the other is to find your pack, right? Who is your pack that you're going to have on campus, and figure out who they are. The other is to remember that you're not alone in regards to your family or your community, that you may have grandparents, parents, or family members who are praying for you, wanting the best for you. It may not be here physically with you, but they're there with you in spirit, and just know that your ancestors also are with you. And I just want to make sure that you remember that you're not alone on this pathway, that we're all here in support of you, and we want to make sure we see you through to the end, and that we see you graduating across that stage, and whether it's virtually or in person, but know that we're going to be here to support you on campus. Hata Robin Zaptohola Minthorn. I'm a first gen, and I want all the first gens out there to know that you're not by yourself, that you're on this journey collectively together. We're here to support you, and we want the best for you, and just know that we're all in your pack together.
Hi, my name is Vincent. I'm a military connected student, but I'm also a first generation college student. Being first gen to me is being resilient to the path of higher education. You learn how to deal with the struggles, and you start to move forward. Some of the challenges being a first generation is trying to learn how to navigate the college. When you don't know the system, it's very hard, but also when you do learn the system, it makes a way for a better experience that you can help others. That's what I try to do on my path. I know I haven't learned a lot. When I do learn things, I like to pass it on to others that are first gen. Through the struggles of being a first generation college student, the 3 strengths that I've developed is resiliency, grit, and having a growth mindset. When you go through the navigation of college, it's very hard, and you always have to ask questions. So being resilient and always asking and advocating for yourself, but also the grit to succeed in the classrooms. Some things and knowledges that you might have not learned in high school or in your previous background, it's very hard. So always having that grit to always succeed no matter what obstacles face your way, but also having a growth mindset. I used to have, I guess, an imposter syndrome. Always thinking I was not good enough for the academics or just in college in general. But once you learn to have a growth mindset, and that if you try your hardest and your best intention, you can always succeed. The people that have supported me the most through my college has to be my family. My parents and siblings have supported me as I go through college. Being the first To graduate from college is not an easy task, and so they've always asked and supported my back, asking me how I'm doing well in classes, if there's any support that I need. They're always the people I can count on. The advice I would give to first generation students is it's okay to feel the imposter syndrome, but what I want you guys to do is to break out of that cycle, break out that silence, and ask help. When I asked for help on campus, that's when my journey and transformation began here at UW Tacoma. My name is Vincent. I'm a proud first generation student here at UW Tacoma, and I support first generation students.
This concludes our 4th annual First Generation Celebration. We would like to thank all the First Gen faculty, students, staff, and alumni who share their stories. Your powerful messages serve as an inspiration to all of us. We would also like to recognize the amazing work from the Office of Advancement team members, Ryan Moriarty, Megan Kitagawa, and John Burkhart, for their work on this project. Every year, this initiative becomes a reality thanks to your expertise, vision, and support towards the success of first-generation students. And special thanks to the student team from the Office of First-Generation Student Initiatives and the IT department for all your stellar work and planning this event. We must also recognize those faculty, staff, and students who over the years have advocated for the support of first-generation students. Thanks for celebrating with us, and we look forward to seeing you all again next year.